Good morning, Gladiators. I'm Courtney here with my co-host Alexis for the March 19th edition of Gladiator News.
We lead off today's show with an in-depth look at the gas plant district of St. Petersburg, Florida.
This is the Tropicana baseball field, located at 16th Street and 1st Avenue South and home of the Tampa Bay Rays. The dome, built in 1990, cost $130 million taxpayer dollars to complete, and in 1998 went under a $70 million renovation. Before this, there was the gas plant district, one of St. Pete's oldest black neighborhoods. The gas plant district was 66 acres and home to over 800 people.
My grandmother's sister owned several homes in the gas plant area, which included one as a rooming house where they had the persons who worked on the train as Pullman porters lived in the rooming house.
Unlike the lack of black-owned businesses in St. Petersburg today, the gas plant district had businesses like the Harlem Theater and the Citizens Lunch Counter. The first elementary school for black students in St. Petersburg was in the gas plant district. There were churches, cemeteries, and libraries, but all of that is now gone.
The area was very tight-knitted. You knew everyone that lived within, I'll say, a couple of miles or so in that area. The businesses were basically all black-owned businesses and were passed down from one generation to the other.
The dome came as a result of a proposition by City Council in 1979 for redevelopment. However, instead of proposing a stadium, a plan for an industrial park that would provide for economic development for the community was drawn up. City Council also put forth a plan for affordable housing. Then in 1982, after the city struggled to attract the necessary business for the industrial park, it recommended a baseball stadium. City Council quickly jumped to approve it.
The city of St. Petersburg was doing a revitalization project, and what they did was formed a community committee, and everyone was invited. In fact, they went door to door to let them know that this particular meeting was going to be held. And after several meetings, there was a proposal that was presented to the people in the community to let them know that the property was going to be acquired for the revitalization project.
Can you explain how the government can take your property?
It's a practice known as eminent domain, and what it does, it gives the federal government as well as states governments opportunities to condemn mainly property for serving the benefit of the state as well as within the city limits of where those properties and things take place.
What they did was ask you to vote whether you would like to see this done or not see this done. The yeas voted to go ahead and have the property acquired.
Are you able to, as like a person, as a citizen, able to fight the legitimacy of the government taking your property?
Yeah, but it's a long-term thing, and oftentimes most people don't want to get into that lengthy type of litigation with going back and forth through the courts and everything because it's so expensive.
So would you say that poor people are disproportionately affected?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because a lot of times they don't even give them the legitimate idea of why they're looking forward to overtake their property and everything.
Residents were given relocation packets and were virtually displaced. The bulldozers came shortly after.
But you actually didn't know what was going to be built there?
No, at the time I did not. I don't recall knowing exactly what they were going to build there.
You know what there used to be in St. Pete? There used to be black-owned grocery stores. There used to be black-owned businesses. And it was policies of this city that destroyed that, running an interstate through 22nd, building a Tropicana field where there used to be over 100 black-owned businesses.
And I want to mention Tropicana Field again, because Tropicana Field literally sits on a graveyard of 800 homes, businesses, churches, schools, hair salons, barbershops, movie theaters, grocery stores, all of that existed in the black community. And the Tropicana Field Stadium sits right on top of that. And the Rays want to leave, and we say, well, go ahead. You can go. But the dome belongs to the black community. That land we can build affordable housing.
Yes, it says ensuring minority business. That means supporting the creation of black-owned businesses. It means a 16th Street redevelopment plan. It means that the land where the Tropicana Field is now, get rid of the dome and turn that land back over to the black community to build economic development, to build the businesses that used to be there, and to build affordable housing.
Jesse Neville, who ran for mayor, and Eritha Akile Canyon, who ran for District 6 City Council in this last election, ran on a joint platform of reparations to the black community and shook up the political sphere as they shifted the focus from how the city would continue to profit from the dome if the Rays were to leave, to the dome being returned to the black community for affordable housing and economic development. Why was the Dome so central to you and Akile's campaign?
The Dome was central because it's very symbolic of the history of the oppression of the Black community and the fact that the whole political economy of St. Petersburg is built on displacing African people from their homes and building a whole tourist industry on their backs.
Why do so many developmental actions taken by the St. Pete government, such as the construction of Tropicana Field or I-275, which also raised the South Side, seem to completely disregard the preservation of the Black community and its culture?
It's actually much worse than them disregarding the culture and disregarding the interests of the Black community. It's actually a deliberate assault on the existence of a Black community in this city and on there being any independence or economic development in the hands of the Black community.
But now the Rays are leaving after years of struggling to attract the sought-after numbers. And then, of course, what would happen to the Tropicana Field?
The whole goal of the campaign to have that land be returned to the Black community is something that is still going to happen. And there's going to be a campaign that Communities United for Reparations Economic Development, aka CURED, is going to be initiating to have possibly on the ballot a referendum for the city to vote for that land to be turned back over to the Black community as a form of reparations.
While the future of the Tropicana Field remains a mystery, it's important to recognize how much progression the city of St. Petersburg has seen while the predominantly Black South Side continues to see no real means of economic productivity. St. Pete's Black community has a significant history, filled with culture and perseverance in the face of forceful attacks from local government. This month and every month, let's remember the Tropicana Field as what it was, the gas plant district, where Black history has literally been bulldozed and covered with a parking lot.
At Gibbs High School, clubs offer wide array of opportunities for students on campus. On Thursday, we have college day, so dress up with your favorite college t-shirt.
For the next 2 weeks, be prepared for a cloudy morning, afternoon, and evening. The temperature will average from 76 to 56 degrees with a 20% chance of rain and thunderstorm. Up next, thinking back in history time, we have a video on Black history.
Black History Month means it is a time for us to celebrate our heritage. It is a time for all people to get to learn and know and understand more about what the African American experience has been and presently is to this country, America.
What Black history means to me is making a difference in the world for everybody, not just for people who are not Black, but for people who are.
Black History Month means to me something we come together for that happened previously, like racism and other things that happened back then.
Black History Month means that we celebrate the ancestral part of the Black community, and that we get together and recognize what they've done for us.
I feel that history within itself never changes. It is what it is. Over time, how it has been received and perceived and deceived as it presently is now is what is the only thing that has happened and is happening. Black history presently is being hijacked and being watered down for unconceivable reasons.
I think how Black history has changed over time is it's changed a lot, but there are still people who are racist and people who don't support Black History Month, and that's a problem.
I feel that Dr. Martin Luther King most greatly influenced the Black culture. I feel like and of course there were other leaders during his era, but it's not so much what occurred during his era as about the legacy.
I think people who have influenced Black culture has been like Malcolm X and like a lot of other people in history, but not just people that we know in history, but other people who care enough to try to make a difference.
Who I think fully represented the Black community more is Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. They stand for what's right.
The person that's mostly influenced the Black culture would be Harriet Tubman for her generous leadership in the Underground Railroads.
For non-Black people, the value of Black History Month is this. It's an opportunity for you to get to know what your grandpappy didn't tell you. There is some ugly stuff in the backdrop of America and its greatness.
I think Black History Month for non-Black people, I think a lot of people support it, but again, I think that some people don't. I think some people don't see a reason for it.
It should be a learning experience for you guys, not instead of disowning us or being bad about us, no, but learn about what we had to go through to get what we have today.
So the way I think other non-Black cultures feel about Black History Month is that it wouldn't matter as much to them because they didn't go through what we've been through.
We barely celebrate Black History Month as it should be represented because all of us in the community don't take it for like respect and that it deserves and that it needs right away.
The one word that I would use to characterize Black History Month would be knowledge. I would add to that understanding, because you can get the knowledge, but if you don't seek to understand what the knowledge is saying, then you're at the same starting gate.
The word I use to characterize Black History Month is courage. We have the courage to keep fighting every day in previous years to have what was ours now, which is freedom, liberty, and the rights to vote.
One word to characterize Black History Month for me would be family, because during this month we all come together as one.
The chess club will be held in Miss Georgia's room, Building 2, Room 234.
A college tour to FAMU is the 24th of March. The cost is $75. The second trip to BCU and Daytona State will be happening on April 11th. The cost is $60. If you pay for both trips at the same time, your cost will be $120. Please see Mr. Green for more information.
Next, we have some real-life testimonies from a few praisers.
They don't want no more. For I'm not worried, nor afraid. God is in control. Where I come from, we call this a deliverance speed. So this might be too fast for some of y'all. They don't want no more. For I'm not worried.
Hurry up and get your senior dues in. They are now $140.
Yes, with that being said, get your grad bash money in before the buses fill. We are only taking 3 buses. For more information, see Ms. Corbett. Thank you for watching and have an awesome spring season. Go Gladiators!